Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are back with some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links action, and as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, Darklords topped a tournament. Not only did they top a tournament, they almost won. It wasn't the most prestigious of tournaments, but they still almost won. And it wasn't a small one either. So, how did this happen? What was the deck? And what should you be playing if you want to play Darklords? Well, I'm here to answer those questions. First of all, my deck is slightly different because it is more optimized for the ladder and not necessarily for a side deck tournament-esque event. If you want to check out the actual deck list as well as who made the deck list, I will leave a link as well as their name down below. So all credit to them for coming up with this deck list. But it's basically pure Darklords. It's pretty standard, nothing too special here. First of all, we're going to start off with the skill. Draw Sense, Spell, or Trap. Really, really good for Darklords, and basically only Darklords. After you lose 1,000 life points, you are able to add a spell or trap from your deck to your hand during the draw phase. Or, sorry, you draw a random spell or trap. You have to have 3 different spell or traps in your deck for this to work. Now, basically that means you get a free banishment, which is a free search. It's pretty simple. And Darklords can proc it very easily because they have a lot of things that make them pay 1,000 life points to activate their effect. Overall, it's really good, and it's just consistent for Darklords. It's their go-to skill, basically whenever they're not meta. Whenever they're a more rogue deck, this is what they play. So, I'm not going to do a description of every card and what they do. If you want a more in-depth guide, I have other guides on this channel, as well as just everywhere on YouTube. There's tons of different guides for how to play Darklords. I'm just going to do a quick card by card and then hop into some replay. So, first of all, we have Glow Up Bulb and Jet Synchron. If you have multiple Glow Up Bulbs, definitely play more of them instead of the Jet Synchron. I only have the one, so I'm only playing the one. Jet Synchron basically fulfills the same conditions, except instead of sending from the deck, you send from the hand. That's basically it. And it's a level 1 tuner, which allows you to go into all of these delicious synchros down below. Then we have One Desire, our secondary boss monster, we'll say that. It allows you to send a card to the grave. Pretty nice. Send a monster. Superbia, extra special summon. Morningstar allows you to, well, I mean, it just does a ton. So, there's that. You can read it. It's a really good effect. I would pause and read it. It's actually really good. Nastin, free special summon. Tez, protection from destruction. Amdusk allows you to recur a card from the graveyard. Ukobak, when summoned, sends a card to the graveyard. A lot of the cards will activate in the grave or have effects that are useful to send cards to the grave. Anyway, cards in the grave, really good in Darklords. Banishment, search a card. Contact, special summon from the grave. That's why you want to send cards to the grave. And Sanctified Darklord allows you to negate a monster effect, non-targeting, by the way. Then, in the extra deck, we have Vermilion Dragon Mech, pop a card, Stardust Dragon. I have Stardust Dragon and Zeta over the other 2 level 8s that the other guy was playing, Dark End Dragon and Scrap Dragon. I found out that Scrap Dragon basically didn't do anything in this deck. It was too slow. So I just never really had a need for it, and I noticed that I basically had no turn 1 plays. Same with Dark End Dragon, it was too slow. So instead I went for Stardust Dragon, because I ended up getting destroyed by a lot of cards like Lightning Vortex, or Raikiri, or Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. And Stardust helps because it protects you from destruction. And then Zeta is there as more insurance for the going first, because it allows you to target a special summon card and just banish it and this card, which is really good. So, yeah. And normally you're not going to solely have that card on the field. You're going to have that and another Darklord. Otherwise, you know, just stick with the Darklord. So, that's what I like. It's up to you, though. You could play basically any level 7 or 8 here. Then we've got Shiranui Squire Saga. Squire Saga, which basically just allows you to pop a monster and a spell or trap without targeting. So it's really good. And you get a little boost of 300. But basically, you summon this, you banish it, and then you non-target pop a spell and trap, or a spell/trap, or a monster. So it's really good. Black Rose to wipe out the field. Star Eater is basically Deltaros except better. That's basically it. Except technically it can't destroy a card, but it's still really good. Zeta, and then Samurai Destroyer. Samurai Destroyer is just a really good card. Anyway, that's going to be it for the explanation. Let's quickly hop into some duels. So here we are up against my Valentine, and we are going first. Sad. We really like going second with this deck, because playing through Disruption doesn't really matter oftentimes. So going first, we do get a pretty decent hand. We've got Superbia, we've got Banishment, and we've got Contact. So we're going to activate, or we're going to search Amdusk. We are going to grab Amdusk and then grab the sorry, hold on. We're going to activate Amdusk to grab back the Banishment, then we are going to contact the Superbia back to the field, and then contact the Superbia, the Amdusk back to the field, and then we are going to normal summon our Bloom, and then go into Vermilion Dragon Mech. Then we are going to summon back the Bulb, and then we're just going to sit on the 2700. Now, I know I'm going up against Harpies because of Harpies Hunting Ground, so this they have to deal with in some sort of spell or trap functioning way. So, yeah, there's that. Anyway, they're going to go through their plays. They're going to summon up their Cyber/Harpy Lady. They're going to go into their Cyber, or their Harpy Oracle. They're going to return our Amdusk to the hand, and then they are going to go into Abyss Dweller. Then they are going to attack into the Glow-Up Bulb, and this is where I'm really confused. What they could have done is they could have returned this Vermilion Dragon Mech. Yes, I would have had the option to contact something like Tez, but at the very least, they would have had gotten rid of this card in particular. And this card is kind of an issue still being on the field, especially since they got rid of Bulb. Because guess what? Now we could just target that back row, and now they have to deal with that back row, right? They didn't even activate their Abyss Dweller, because I think they realized it only works on cards and effects that activate in the graveyard. And none of our cards actually activate in the grave. They all activate in the field, hand, or that's it. There's no graveyard activation. Yes, we target cards in the grave, or we summon from the grave, which is why Necro Valley is really good, but overall, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, we are going to end up returning this Glow-Up Bulb, which is kind of funny due to Vermilion Dragon Mech being destroyed. And then we're going to get back our Contact, and we're going to Superbia, Contact. Ukobak is going to then send the Darklord, and we are going to have Morningstar on the field, and we are going to summon the Nastin, and then they realize, hey, it's over, because I can search another gosh diggity darn card, and we're happy, right? Woo! They surrender, it's over. Morningstar also can't be targeted by card effects while you control another Darklord, so it's really difficult to deal with, especially for things that target. And we're back against, this time, I don't remember this guy's name. Cool! I genuinely don't remember. I cannot remember. Anyway, we've got a really decent hand, but we drew into a Banishment, which means that it's actually a godlike hand. We were going to go for Nastin. We ended up searching an Amdusk because we could just search a Contact, and now we can contact the Superbia. Superbia can contact the Amdusk back to the field, and then he's going to go for Treacherous Trap Hole, and he's going to blow up 2 of our cards, and then we're sad. Oh, guess what? It's Harpies. Guess what? I don't care. Oh, he's going to Forbidden Lance. How very, very sad. Well, that means we can't negate him, but we do end up trying. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, we can't really negate him. He's going to go for the Cyber/Harpy Lady, and he's going to boost up and then just do nothing because he can't get over the Amdusk. We're going to draw Sense high level. Now, the thing is, real quick, if we look at our graveyard, we know that we're not getting a Sanctified, which is really good. It's really good, okay? Now, he's going to chain his Cyber/Harpy Lady to try to return the Amdusk. However, we have a negate, so we can just negate it. Just negate it. Here we go. Grab up the Contact. We can contact the Superbia back to the field, and then we can contact the Amdusk. off of the Superbia, and then Nastin. I said Amdusk, I meant Nastin. Nastin allows us to get Morningstar. Morningstar's effect will activate, milling a bunch of cards as well as summoning Tez. Tez then can search for another Sanctified Darklord, and we swing in for well over lethal thanks to Morningstar. Gosh, it's a good card. And here we are up against Bones. And this is our rank up. Let's go. I've actually got 2 rank ups in this video, which is pretty interesting. So, our hand is good because we have Banishment. So we're going to activate Banishment, and we're going to grab up a Nastin. Nastin is then going to grab up Contact. And we still have a Tez in hand, which is really nice. So Tez is going to come back thanks to Contact. He's going to activate his Alpha, the Magnet Warrior, and we are going to negate that. Say no, no, no. Then we're going to activate Spell Set or Draw Sense Spell or Trap. We're going to add that Banishment to the hand, and then we are going to add the Sanctified. Then we are going to add it with Tez to grab the Amdusk. Amdusk is then going to grab the Contact. We are then going to fire down that Contact. He is going to Cosmic Cyclone, which is really sad, which means we no longer have a Contact on. But he ends up going for Demise of the Land in order to summon up the Magnet Field. Now this is very troublesome. Magnet Field returns cards to the hand. Well, that's disappointing. Delta the Magnet Warrior is going to try to send another card, and we're just going to say no, negate. And then we're going to get in for 2,800 damage. He's down to 200 life points thanks to that Cosmic Cyclone. He's going to pop off and do his Magnet combos. Going to Berserkion. Well, guess what? Berserkion, we have the Tez in hand. He only had the 1 material, which means that, yes, he is able to wipe one of our cards off of the field, but not all of them, which means we still have an Amdusk. And because of Draw, Sense, Spell, or Trap, we are able to go into Desire. We are going to send the Berserkion to the grave and then swing in over the top and get lethal and get that shiny, shiny victory screen. And last but not least, Tyranno Hassleberry. Let's go. Going first once again. Pretty interesting. But we have Life Boost Alpha. This guy. But we did end up getting a pretty good hand because we got Banishment. So we are going to Banishment, search for Nastin. Nastin's effect is going to then add to Contact. We now have Uko back in the grave, so we can send another Banishment to the graveyard for another search during our opponent's turn. We could even search a Tez. We could search, we have the effect negation. We could also go for Contact, so there's a lot that we could do. We're going to add that Tez to our hand to protect ourselves. And bada bing, bada boom. Then he's going to go for... Oddly enough, this is Blue Eyes. I don't know why. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We're going to draw Sense, Spell, or Trap, add that Banishment. He is going to Ultimate Providence, which is really interesting. He did have an Ancient Rules. Kind of sad. Nastin's effect is going to activate. We're going to negate ourselves, and then we are going to summon up a Star Eater. Yes, with a 3, with a 7, and with a 1, we summon up a level 7. I forgot exactly how we did end up summoning it that first time. Now, Floodgate can't actually do anything to our Star Eater. As I said, it's unaffected. It can't be negated. Nothing can activate while it's summoned. So it's a lot like Deltaros, right? But more importantly, it gets over Blue Eyes. Now, this is a really funny part. We draw Sense, Spell, or Trap. We add ourselves the Amdusk because Contact is currently in the grave. Now, we're going to swing into this Maiden with Eyes of Blue, and I don't think he understood how his card works. So let me explain it real quick. Maiden says, negate an attack, and if you do, you can special summon a Blue Eyes and switch this position, or switch and then special summon, right? So you switch the battle position after the effect is after the attack is negated. Star Eater says, I don't care what you do. If I'm in the damage step, I'm unaffected. Meaning, we can just swing in right over this. It doesn't negate the attack, meaning it doesn't switch battle position, and it doesn't summon. So we just get 3,200 damage, easy peasy. Now they're going to add back a card, and now for a fact, we know that this is 100% a Karma Cut. Otherwise, they wouldn't have used Ancients right there. So we know it's a Karma Cut, or something else that requires a discard, most likely a Karma Cut, because right now it's giving delays. Well, guess what? It's a Karma Cut. So they're going to banish our Star Eater. It doesn't really matter. We're going to Contact. We're going to Amdusk. We're going to contact the Nastin. We are going to search for Tez. And then we are going to just sit. Nastin is going to negate his own effect. Amdusk is then going to search because we had a second banishment in the graveyard. We're going to then just let the Amdusk die. Why? Because we want protection for the follow-up. So you got to be thinking a few steps ahead. We're going to get back that Amdusk. We're going to then contact the Ukobat. Ukobat is then going to send the Sanctified. We're then going to tribute for the Morning Star. And because we kept the Tez in hand, we even got to keep it on the field. Not that it mattered, but we did get to keep it on the field. We swing in over the Blue Eyes and then swing for lethal. And that is game. So, real quick, is this deck good? Yes. Is this deck going to win tournaments? No. Is this deck even a rogue contention deck? Kind of. It's in the same vein right now that I think something like Ritual Beasts is, where there aren't really great ways to play it, and it's not the strongest in the meta. It kind of loses to a lot of different decks, but the thing is, Darklords are incredibly fun, and if you can get set up, they are incredibly difficult to beat. That's why things like Starlords, or just back when they were still playing Ixchel, or when they were able to play Charge of the Light Brigade, and, you know, a myriad of these other cards that allowed them to have a little bit more consistency, they were incredibly strong. And, you know, potentially tier 1 or tier 0, right? Back in the day. Not quite there, but almost. It's because they're incredibly hard to deal with if they get set up. But the other problem that arises with this is that it bricks, and sometimes you don't get a good setup, and you don't get your recursion of your Sanctified Darklord. So, all in all, with everything being said, I still love this deck. It's still one of my favorites, and it's fun. It's still bricky, and oddly enough, I'm doing better with this deck than I am with something like Ritual Beasts, or even Evil Eye, or, you know, etc., etc. Most decks don't seem to be as good as this one. It's really good against non-top tier decks. If it's going up against Harpies, it has a bit of an issue. If it goes up against a Fire King deck, you're kind of screwed. There's not a lot you can do against Fire Kings. If it's going up against, you know, Water Exee, it doesn't really matter all that much, but it can be an issue just due to the amount of back row that they have. So, I still love the deck. If you don't want to see it, if you don't like it, that's understandable. But I still love it. I still have fun with it. Hope that you guys did indeed enjoy this episode, and if you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links action, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.